On this edition of Crisis in the Toyverse, we examine the green that is a Swamp Thing action figure. But it ain't your mama Swamp Thing action figure. That's right, folks. We are looking at a custom Swamp Thing figure based on the DC Collectibles Designer Series line, kicked up a notch, to quote Emerald. This wonderful figure was provided to me as a gift from my good friend, Jorge Ruiz. If you want to find out more about George's great work, head over to Facebook and see what's going on. But I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Guys, how cool is it to see this Swamp Thing? Now, this Swamp Thing is based upon some of his earlier look. It's that beginning area with a little bit of Alan Moore-inspired look to it. I'm very satisfied with it, for starters. I was very happy to take pictures with it and whatnot. It's just a fun figure to behold in front of my eyes. However, let's go ahead and break down this guy a little more and talk about why he is as cool as he is. Alright, before we even get started, on the side of your screen here, if I move this over, you're going to see a comparison shot between the Swamp Thing that was originally released by DC Collectibles and, of course, this fine-tuned custom by George. Obviously, you can see there are subtle differences between the two. What you see is the paint differences. He went with a different shade of green that I actually think works a lot better with this Swamp Thing. If I could get some more light on it so you guys can see it a little more. As you can see, it definitely is a different shade of green, which is nice. This is a Swamp Thing that's kind of... It reminds me of what I've seen in comics, but also, in terms of shade of color, reminds me a little bit of the cartoon series. I know it's not as dark as that one, but it kind of has that vibe to it. At least that's what pops into my head. Also, as you can see, the head sculpt is different, and that's because George went ahead and applied a Marvel Legends Absorbing Man head, completely retooled it, repainted it. All the fine details that you see have been redone, as you can see in the picture coming up here in a moment. I'll be honest with everyone. I think it's pretty cool that his talent allowed him to create that cool-looking Swamp Thing head. However, there are a lot more subtle changes here. We get to the body of the figure. As you can see in the Designer Series, he had a different look going on, with the rib cage being exposed like bark on a tree, or like branches on a tree, if you will. Here, we got a little bit of that going on at the top, but we also have abs and pecs and things of that nature, which give that little extra detail to Swamp Thing. Also, if you'll look at the shoulders, this is where it's a little weird. Now, in the original figure, you had shoulder pads that made him look like a football standout. However, George went ahead and took out the shoulder pads and gave it a more tree branch, bark, tree look with it, if you will. Now, I do have to say there is a little gappage there, but at the end of the day, what's really cool is you get that better posability with it, for my taste. That's only me. I know there's going to be somebody out there going, well, you didn't put it in like this. Anyways, I'm kidding. I appreciate all feedback, both positive and negative. This is what this channel always strives to be. Better. In any shape and form it can be. Now, if you look at the back of Swamp Thing here, let's go ahead and turn him around. You can see that he added a leaf section. It almost gives it like a shaggy coat feel, or like fur, but it's in the shape of a leaf, which I think is very cool too. As you can see from the back of the arms, as compared to the original picture, there are no tree branches. I thought the tree branch idea was cool on the DC Collectibles. However, here, it's actually broken up better by not having it there, because there's only like 2 or 3 tree branches on that DC Collectibles version. Here, we don't have to deal with that. You don't have to worry about anything breaking, which is always a plus if I say so myself. And if we go to the lower body, as you can see, not a lot changed here. It just accented a couple things. I think maybe some of the tree branch stuff's new. On the legs, not a lot, or it's just highlighted by his paint job. And of course, the bottom's just regular as can be. So overall, very satisfied. Looks fantastic. Jumping for joy. Doing a jig. Dancing like a crazy wig. See, look, I did a little rhyme. It doesn't really add up, but don't worry about that. Anyways, let's go ahead and break down Articulation. But before I do that, I just want to show you a little more close-up of the figure in question. As you can see, looking very cool. He's yelling, he's angry, get out of my swamp! You go throughout. A very nice clean paint job. This was a gift I was not expecting to have. It wasn't even my birthday, so that was very cool. I'm just very happy to have this, I have to say. I had a lot of fun doing some pictures with this guy too recently, which you'll see at the end of the video. All in all, very, very fun. Alright, in terms of the head, Swamp Thing can not really look up, but that's okay. He can look down quite a bit. He can do 360 Exorcist style, and he's the Swamp Thing with attitude. Girlfriend, not in this house. Look at that. Now, in terms of the arms, you saw it shift a little bit. This is what they're on. So if I just plug that back in, you get movement that goes up that far, it goes down, and spins all the way around. We do have the bicep cut here, single bend at the elbow, and we have rotation at the hand. I think the elbow works better on this as compared to the regular Swamp Thing release, just because the way the sculpt was. But I'm not 100% sure on that because I passed on that figure. Now, there is no ab crunch or anything, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, just that amazing sculpt more than makes up for it. In terms of the legs, we have Swamp Thing able to do the splits like so. You bring it back down, you can go back somewhat, and go forward about that much. It also has got a thigh cut here. We do have double bend at the knee, which is on the original figure. Pretty much everything at the lower is the same. And we have a hinge that goes down all the way. Can go up a little bit. It's kind of hindered by the sculpt there. And then we have the pivoting action with the foot. And no peg holes on the bottom. But overall, very fun to say the least. Let's go ahead and move on to the size comparison and take it from there. Now on to the main event, folks. In the middle, we have the custom Swamp Thing. To the left, we have the DC Collectibles New 52 Swamp Thing. And to the right, we have the DC Universe Classics Swamp Thing action figure. And the truth is, I'm really digging the middle one the best. As you can see, the custom is built upon the body that the new 52 one has. Now, there were some differences with the regular release. It didn't have wings, and that sculpt was different, and the paint was a little different too. But that is the original figure for the most part. What you've seen George do with that has been tremendous. Now, we also have the DC Universe Classics one there, and I want to point out that that figure is still amazing, but it's more of a statue than an action figure. It's built upon a weird exoskeleton and limited articulation, but it looks beautiful. I have to say, I've gotten some amazing pictures. I really dig that head sculpt. What I like about George's is it's got its own flair to it, but it has kind of more of an original look to it that harkens back to early Swamp Thing, which I do appreciate. So the bottom line here is if you're looking for an action figure to have customized, go check out George on Facebook. You'll see the little way to contact him over there. He's definitely worth it. He's a good dude. He'll treat you right, and he'll get the work done properly. So, guys, that's going to pretty much do it for the review here today. Let's just take these other Swamp Things out of the way. So, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for taking the time to look at this custom action figure. I know there's a lot more cooler action figures going on the World Wide Web, and especially on YouTube. So, for you to take a moment to stop by over here says a lot. So, thank you, and I really mean that. While I'm at it, I got a whole crap ton of plugs to do. So let's get those out of the way right now. For all things collectible, head over to BigBadToyStore.com today. While you're on the World Wide Web, throw in your Google machine, Extreme Dash Sets, to see amazing pop-ups like this at an affordable price. And once you're done there, head over to undercovercapes.com for all things geekery in the podcast verse. And lastly, on Instagram, go check out Toy Lover Crew, baby. They got some amazing stuff going on over there in terms of toy photography, toy discussions, and whatnot. You are going to love it, I promise you. Guys, thank you so much. Slideshow at the end. Take care. And until next time, great googly moogly.